Thank you, everyone. We are going to have our panel discussion this afternoon, and our theme for today's panel discussion is for storage providers of North America. And we have special guests here. First one is Charles Chow. You saw him these days. He is the founder of MBAFS and over 15 years of experience in information technology and the tech and fintech industry. He brings experience in crypto mining technologies and public relationships for the team growth. Charles is the ambassador of FIL and mentor of Techstar Accelerator. And we also have our lady online that is from Origin Storage. Sorry. She's Bai Chao Ren, the Vice President of Origin Storage for the North American region. In her role leading in the largest decentralized web storage provider, Chao is focused on maximizing mining rewards for every miner and institution and investors around the world through smarter mining solutions. Prior to joining Origin Storage, Chao was a crypto investor and consultant since 2017. She also serves on board of 2 business consulting companies and is advising multiple projects. Hello. And also we have here Jakes from FIL Storage Technology. Jakes brings 30 years of experience as a chief technology officer, entrepreneur, and software engineer. He is an expert in virtualization, DR planning, designing and managing multi-cloud solutions, and has in-depth knowledge of a vast range of networking and storage systems, including distribution systems. Thank you, Jakes. Okay. So we are going to, so this panel is actually all for the storage providers, and we have a lot of like FICOM experts there in the audience. So we will have some questions from my side, and after my questions done, I will welcome that your audience will have some questions for us, okay? So first question for all 3 of you, what attracts you to the FICOM ecosystem? How about let's start with the lady. Chao, can you start with this question?
Well, yeah. So first of all, I do believe in the decentralized data storage. I think it's very important, and the world is changing, and we've had industrial revolution before, and in my opinion, we are at information revolution now. This reminds me of, in the past, you've heard you're the 5 people you spend the most time with, and really the scenario now is you're the 5 people you consume whose data online. So we're daily going through Twitter, you watch YouTube videos. So in the future, information is a very important sector, and we need to find a decentralized way to store this data. And I also want to answer your question as honest as possible. Origin Storage started as a mining company, and besides mining Filecoin, we also mine Bitcoin. And the margin, like for us, mining Bitcoin right now is not as profitable or doesn't have as much potential as mining Filecoin. So as a business, we have to look at our economic expectations, and we have to understand Filecoin circulating supply. The burning of transactions and network information fees creates a long-term deflationary pressure as FIL burn due to storage and consensus failures. So in this case, I also see a potential of Filecoin price going up in the future. And yeah, so both my own belief and in this track, and also the Filecoin price potential made me join this Filecoin ecosystem.
Okay, thank you very much. And how about Jakes?
Yeah, so for myself, I spent half my career in the traditional enterprise and cloud services industries. And I kind of really firsthand got to experience, all the challenges, all the concerns that customers kind of see, like, where's my data? Can I trust my data hasn't changed? And so that's always been in the back of my head. And, kind of always looking forward, what's the next technology that can really make the customer experience better? How can we improve trust with the customer? And kind of crypto-based Web3 technologies what really pulled in my attention. And then Filecoin specifically is, kind of when I looked at all the solutions out there, and there's, several out there that one can use, I was really kind of looking at an enterprise perspective as far as what can scale up and really provide scalability to a customer, and that we can build a profitable business around servicing those customers. And by far, Filecoin was the only platform in the storage space that could kind of meet those criteria, in my opinion.
Got it. Okay. And also, Charles, can you give us some idea why you are joining Filecoin system?
Yeah, Filecoin ecosystem is not something created from one day. I would like to say like the history of Filecoin. It starts even earlier than 2017. Juan is the guy who created the IPFS-based salary. Then based on that, there was a widely adoption of the IPFS. So people consider the IPFS as one of the best, or we can even say best, decentralized storage provider. However, it has one issue. Even though lots of people like it, lots of people using it, how to persistent storage for long term? The IPFS is users, providers, they're not getting paid. How can a business become long term if provider doesn't getting paid? When Filecoin comes out with the white paper, it changes all those base conditions and tell people that yes, your data is valuable. Yes, your data is distributed, and people get paid for the services they provide. That makes me interested because this is a long-term business model, not just provide a service because of love, right? So, in 2020, early days, I was doing the research about how to using crypto mining devices for scientific research, like deep learning AI. Our primary goal is using Ethereum mining rigs. However, it is only GPUs, not enough. There's no storage. There's nothing there besides the GPU hash. That's not a perfect candidate for the future. But when I look at Filecoin, it's different. What are they? They are servers. They are cloud computing servers. What does it mean? Filecoin, as the base layer, provides the storage. They can do more than that. My perspective, my expectation for Filecoin is not just storage, it's beyond storage. It's the essential of Web3. I saw in the next 10 years, the entire blockchain Web3 will be built on top of that. That's why I decide to put all the effort, all the teams in Filecoin ecosystem, because I believe this is the future over the next 10 years. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So actually, you are attracted by the future of Filecoin, right? That's great. So, start from Charles. I know that we have like data centers in Montreal, even in US. My question is, how can like North American SPs better serve the global Filecoin community?
Yeah, that's a good question because nowadays, back to 1 year ago, there was a bigger concern in the Filecoin network is most of our storage providers in China, and there's less providers in North America. We are one of the, I could say, native providers from Canada. Everything we purchase, everything we use is made in Canada, which is great. We like it. However, we see that Filecoin is a distributed or
Excuse me,
decentralized.
you guys are muted. I can't hear you now.
Is that fine now? Can you hear us? Joe? David? I think the online guests cannot hear us. Hello, Joe. Can you hear us? Hello,
Hello?
Chao.
Yeah. Okay, now I
Okay.
can hear you.
Good, good. Thank you.
Great. So, where we are now? I was thinking about decentralized storage and in different geolocations, right? So what we see is that I found the strong needs when people back up their data, they want it in different geolocations, right? So there's a lot of advantages. So for sure, Filecoin itself is decentralized. They have lots of SPs. The big question to us is that since there are so many SPs worldwide, why we need to expand to different geolocations, right? So this is a question that actually bothered me for a long time. But finally, we decided to provide in more service area. The reason is simple. We found that in most cases, communication time is longer between organizations. Inside the organization, it's actually faster. So we would like to provide fast services to the clients, but at the same time, we are using other storage providers as plan B in case we have a single point of failure. Based on this reason, we started building the different branches in different countries, like US, Asia region, and also based on the CDN technology, we need to have different access point to provide CDN services. We're not just a storage provider. With the first one, we are also an ecosystem application development platform. So there were lots of new technologies as a layer 2 cross-chain for other service bridges. We need to test it beyond the Filecoin storage on different data center level. So it's much easier for us just running those services on the data center under our control. So we have a couple of data centers can provide services in different geolocations. We can move data, 1 petabyte data fast between data centers. We can provide the users to different cases beyond the storage. For example, rendering token, they want computing power, so we can easily adjust it. Yeah. So that's the reason we provide a multi-location storage with service beyond storage.
Okay, good. And Jakes, how do you answer on this question? How can you serve the global Filecoin ecosystem?
Yeah, so one of the things that SEAL's doing, and it's actually our company tagline that Andrew invented, is SEAL is focused on commercializing the adoption of Web3 technologies. So one of the things that we're doing as a North American storage provider is, North America is probably one of the easier places to commercialize technologies and bring real customers and real data onto the network. And of course, we want to distribute the data globally, give redundancy to customers, and then over time, the data distributes, some of the other SPs can store it, win some block rewards, and then over time, they'll be able to bring some of their customers into the ecosystem, and then so globally, all of us win, kind of accelerating more data onto the network. But I think from North America's perspective, it's easy to commercialize stuff here, so all the SPs in North America bring more real data.
Thanks. And Chao, actually, you've already in a global company, so how can you do that, do service to the globals?
Yeah, so our company has multiple data centers. Some are in Asia, but I think United States is definitely one of the most important locations because all the big tech companies are here in the United States, and leading companies in the developed industries are in the United States, like Google and Facebook, all these companies, right? And even though you can be a storage provider in any country, but Filecoin is more like in my opinion, it's a bridge. It's utilizing blockchain technology, which is a Web3 technology, but we are storing the Web2 data. So we're bridging Web2 and Web3 in order to bring these Web2 companies to Web3. We need to communicate or partner with all these big companies. So United States is definitely where we can help bring the real data onto Filecoin chain and just build the ecosystem from here. I think once the chain is mature enough, then we can have decentralized storage in any countries.
Okay, great. So here's another question for you, Chao. So how can a client evaluate a true storage provider? Like, what's the difference between you guys? And I know, sitting here, you're all storage providers. So how can it differentiate you, actually?
You mean how to choose a storage provider to work
Yes.
with? Or, so I think as of now, the public is not doesn't know much about each individual storage provider yet because FVM is not launched yet. Once FVM launched, I think different storage provider will have different smart contracts and we will offer different services. For example, like in this morning when our company gave a talk and we mentioned one use cases, which is big data and NFT. So people can, if they want to have a database and they sell their data, they can work with us if we offer such services. And I think for clients, they need to look for storage provider who have a good credentials, like they never have any incident and they will not lose your data. Not only they need to look at their rate, but also I think eventually all the storage provider are going to compete based on their own services. So we each are going to, even though we're a Web3 business, but we are still competing our services, which is similar to Web2 companies, because we're using the Filecoin technology, but we're offering different services. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. So actually, the differentiate is about how the service is different, right? And still waiting for some tools to be ready. That's your answer, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
the quality of services, for sure.
Good.
Like, are you able to offer 24/7 customer services, and how are our data stored? Yeah, that sort of thing. And will you have like a dashboard for clients to easily access their data?
Okay, so user-friendly, those kind of things.
Yes.
Yes. So how about Charles? You just mentioned you have a lot of like tools to provide to those ecosystem. So what do you think it differentiate you?
You already see the difference on the names, you're right? They call themselves storage, we call ourselves data. So that's a difference. We provide more than storage. We're doing data, we're doing the computing, we're doing the CDN. We're working with different platforms like S3, Texel, also our own platform, First One. We are early builders in FVM. We provide services cooperation with universities like McGill University. We're doing edge computing. We're also part of China and Quebec strategy co-working on edge computing for stroke analysis. It's a government cooperation. We're part of Binance Labs incubator projects, help with cross-chain effort. So this is what we do is based on storage, beyond the storage, data is the focus.
Okay, so actually you're talking about the difference is you are focused on different things. Good answer. Okay. So how about Jakes? What do you think about this question?
Yeah, sure. For sealed storage, again, because we have such a strong focus on commercializing the network, a big part of it is, myself having a strong enterprise background experience. Enterprise customers has a certain expectation as far as it's got to be easy to use. It's got to be full service support, 24/7 support, as well as usually enterprises has an expectation of Filecoin is a complex system. I need to understand how it works. Enterprises doesn't want to deal with those complexities themselves. So we're building interfaces, connecting to proprietary protocols, providing S3 style interfaces for some customers as well. And in some cases also providing like a hot layer to customers because they want to be able to do retrievals faster, which is a challenge at the moment. So again, a key focus is building and writing software for customers to make it really transparent and easy to use.
Okay, thanks. And you just mentioned about challenges. I need to ask you another question about challenges. So what are some difficulties or blocks for companies to become a CSP in the current market, like challenges?
Yeah, so within the Filecoin ecosystem, it is a complex system. So it's, for any company that's looking to start up, you probably want to make sure that you know, it's a group of people. It's got to be a real business that you run. Filecoin was not designed for like small vendors. You normally want to scale it up. The economies of scale in Filecoin only make sense once you have scale, and that kind of helps drive good adoption in the network, because it is only really large, serious providers that's coming into the network.
Got it. And Charles, you just mentioned that you are like expanding. So is there any like challenges while you're expanding to other markets?
Yeah, there was lots of challenges actually in current market. So uncertain is the mostly common issue in our situation. Because we're doing the global distribution, so there are lots of things we need to put into consideration. Leading time of the services, right? When client want to order some servers, equipment, the leading time is uncertain in common seconds. Like it can be from 1 day shipping to 20 days, and when the clients want services from different geolocations, they probably will have concerns about for example, equipment. Should the governance on the local culture, like in China, some data you're not supposed to store there, and when the servers they are doing the delivery logistics from different routines, there will be difference, and also some delays in the shipment, and also fraud. You know, in different places, the due diligence it become complicated, especially cross country. And there was also uncertainty about the clients themselves. Sometimes they get the budget in the beginning, but it's probably doing something. For example, the cryptocurrency market is not stable at the moment. The price change maybe makes them change the decision. And for our challenges is always how to make sure our clients who is in the business using the less money get the best product. And also when extreme case happens, how to reduce their loss. In order to reduce their loss, there will be lots of considerations, and also, for example, transfer deals, second-hand market, and also it also requires us maybe to provide some buffer time for their cash flow. So those are lots of challenges in order to maintain good relationship with customers and provide best services. It also cause lots of management issues and other obstacles inside the teams, because we have a geolocation distributed team. We are living in different time zones, so sometimes we have to working overtime because there's China and Canada. They have about 12 hours difference. Canada and East and Europe, they have a 6-hour difference. How to communicate each other, make them stay aligned. That's another challenge. Also language difference, right? China vendors speak Chinese, and US vendors speak English, and Quebec vendors speak French. So how can you make sure 3 language people talking in the same language? So that's a really big challenge.
Okay, thank you very much. And Chao, actually, you were already doing some global time zone working, right? So what do you think about the challenges Charles just mentioned, or do you have any new challenges that you're going to tell us?
Yeah, I think so. Charles and Jakes both have mentioned lots of the common challenges we see in this business, but I would just to add on this. I do think for this market now is very hard, because during the bull run last year, margins of some Bitcoin miners has been as high as 90%, but it's no longer the case today. We are in a bear market right now. The reason I mentioned Bitcoin is that I think whatever crypto we're talking about, Bitcoin always acts as a benchmark for the whole blockchain industry. If Bitcoin price goes down, then players in the market will lose faith in crypto and the whole market goes down. And any crypto mining is a capital heavy business. So is like Filecoin storage provider. We're a storage provider and also like miners in the Filecoin ecosystem. As a storage provider, you need to invest money in hardware, software, and staffing cost, and IDC hosting fees, etc. Right, and it's so it's not as passive as Bitcoin mining. Like for Bitcoin mining, you can just do it in your garage, but for Filecoin mining, you need to put your hardwares in an IDC. So as the cost of capital becomes more expensive in this bear market, some of these miners do not have sufficient capital to finish what they have started. This could kill small miners. In the case of Filecoin, small storage providers. Supply chain could be another issue during COVID and recession. We ship our hardware from China and Singapore, Hong Kong, right? So during recession, there might be some shipping issues and supply issues. These are the blocks and difficulties. But if you look at this in another way, now it's also sort of a sweet spot to become a storage provider. For example, Filecoin Foundation has this FIL Plus incentive. You can get 10x rewards with real data storage. So as a smaller storage provider, you can survive on the real data deals. In my opinion, FIL Plus will not stay here forever. So now is like a good time to get in. And it shouldn't stay forever. In my opinion, FIL Plus should stay till the network is mature enough, when we have enough SPs and clients in the network. So now we can take advantage, as an SP, you can take advantage of FIL Plus incentive. And you can also buy Filecoin as a collateral at a cheaper price as the pledge coins. So, and then by the end of the storage period, if Filecoin price goes up, then your ROI will be much higher. Yeah, so I see this really like for this market, there are lots of difficulties, but there are also lots of opportunities.
Well, thank you, Zhao. And here is another question for Jakes. Like Andrew just mentioned some like cooperation with Berkeley. Can you give me us like some more details or other kind of like information about a cooperation with some like the data providers? Anything? Yes.
Yeah, certainly. So kind of your more details around use cases that we have in the ecosystem. Again, that's a really important part of commercializing the network is, finding those use cases that customers really align well or provide value to what they're trying to do. So the verifiability of Filecoin is really useful to research organizations, climate data, anything where they want to be able to go back in time and show like this is the original data. We didn't somehow change it or fake news. It was altered in any way, shape or form since then. So kind of focusing on where we can solve like really business problems for customers, and it's like a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario for the customers. That really will help to accelerate bringing real data onto the network.
Thank you. And Zhao, you just mentioned about the Web2 companies in North America and those like big giants that may be transferred to Web3. Could you give us like a customer profile that you think is suitable for Web3? Because everyone is interested in knowing that who is actually the clients for the Web3 decentralized storage.
Okay. So we have a client, but I'm not going to mention their name. Basically, they save some of Reddit data and they're analyzing on their data, and we store data for them. In my opinion, for a storage provider, we're really working with the enterprise level data, because if they don't need to save if they don't need to store enterprise level data, then they can just store with the Filecoin. I think Filecoin official has this website where you can store your data, right? So for us, we can offer similar services as AWS. For example, AWS has if you store large data, they send you a physical device, and you can store your physical data onto their device and ship to AWS. And for our company, we're developing similar stuff where we can send you a customized like a hard drive where you can store your data and send back to us. And we can also add the data for you. For example, if you want to alter some data, and we will go back to alter this data, and we can provide permanent storage. We'll give customer a price, and then they can store with us permanently. I think what for SPs, we really need to look for clients who really need to store data and want to have some add-on services to these data. If we only look for data, for example, like some I don't know, like for example, some universities, and they already store their data, but they just want us as SP to store a backup for their data. That really doesn't have that much utilities. The best thing is to help the Web2 companies find a better alternative data storage solution. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much. And Charles, can you give us like more ideas about the customer profiles or the customers you are targeting or anything? Because you were saying you are talking about data things, right?
Yeah, this is a quite an interesting topic. So I have some different ideas about data. And while everybody was talking about the Web 2, Web 3, Web 2, Web 3, I would say like I will only talk about the Web 3. So for me, the future is always Web 3. That's the reason why we are here. And we have to see like there was a lot of good companies in Web 2, like AWS and Google. And the reason we are here today is to get rid of them. So there was several ways you can run in the business. There are several ways you create a new world. And when we have the first time, we imagine the first time human, as people, we started changing from ride a horse to take a train, from take a train to take a flight. We don't need the road based building for horse. We don't need the rail building for train because you are a flight. So same thing as Web 3. We're not necessary to follow the rules which in building for Web 2. So for us, we more focus on how to bring the Web 3 data. For example, on-chain analysis. For example, NFT storage. They may be small at the moment, but in the future, they will become big. So who are leading the stage? For sure, the people who start building for Web3. So that's why we're building the first one, working with MPFS together. With the first one, we're not doing the distributing about enterprise data from Web2 companies. We're doing that we distributed the data from NFT storage, from blockchain backups, snapshots, from different nodes. And the way we are doing that is not holding the data in our data center. Instead of that, we're building a distributed ledger. So first one get 30 to 50 storage providers connect to their platform. MPFS is just one of them. The reason we have MPFS support the global network is we want the important data have one copy on our side. But the majority of the copy shouldn't be on our side. So we're just part of the global family. And this is the overview about us. So in this case, we might be in the future not the biggest storage provider, but I believe that we will be one of the most important Web3 storage provider.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, Chao, you can add some.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I do agree what Charles said about like we need to bring more Web3 data onto the chain, but I think as of now, like 99% of the data on the Filecoin chain, like the real data on Filecoin chain, are from Web2 data. And I think the goal for like for Filecoin chain, one of the goals is to save humanity's data, and that's for sure like a Web2 data, and we can like use Web3 I mean, it's a good thing to use Web3 technology and to solve some of the Web2 problems. You know, our like privacy is a issue over in this like information era, and we can definitely utilize like Filecoin chain to store Web2 like healthcare data or something like similar. Yeah, I think both should be on Filecoin.
So Charles and Jakes, do you have any replies to Charles? I think it's a good discussion, right?
Want my answer? Yeah,
I will try.
I would say like it's fine, and because in Quebec we have a French they could chacun son goût, which means that everybody has their own taste. Like companies, storage providers, the diversity is the beauty of decentralization, right? We're not necessarily everybody doing the same things. For MFS data, we are focused on Web3 conversion, Web3 first, and where other companies consider it like using Web3 technology for Web2 companies, they're pretty fine because chacun son goût.
Yeah, I think from my side, I can probably add, you know, as far as Web3, I guess call it Web3 native would be the proper term. You know, as for now, we're kind of focusing on commercializing the network, make it the network stable, scale up, show that it's usable, functional. And then over time, you know, if you think of like Decentraland or like, you know, a Meta or those companies, you know, those assets that they have in those environments will have to be stored somewhere. And that's where Web3 is, can only really solve that problem. So the Web3, as kind of like build it and they will come. So for now, we're kind of stabilizing the network, show that it can scale, and then the technology companies out there that are building new metaverses and so on, would kind of understand like, look, Filecoin is a place where we need to store our data, and they will build the applications.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. So actually, this panel today, we discussed the future of the decentralized storage and Web3. We discussed about challenges of being a SP. We also talk about some latest update about the business and the market of our Web3 and storage provider. So audience here and all the people, anyone who is watching this video, if you want to be an SP, contact us. We are still looking for more and more people to build up the Web3 together, and we have a community here. So thank you very much for your presence and for watching our video. Is there any question from audience part?
And if they want to save data with Filecoin, right?
Yeah,
we
right.
have a data now with Charles.
Okay, I saw one's
The
raising
client can
hand.
also look for it.
Yeah. Let me collect some questions here. Okay.
So I'm not sure if you folks are the right people to ask this, but I think you've mainly been speaking about the benefit from the storage provider's perspective of Filecoin, but could you talk a little bit about from the consumer's perspective?
Yeah, I can give some answer based on my understanding. So there were a couple of things from vertical and the horizontal side. We can talk about the benefits using Filecoin, okay, as a client. So in the blockchain industry, just like that, there are lots of solutions on blockchain claims that they want to solve the issue for client storage, right? Some of them, like IPFS, they're not long term, so which means that it's not reliable. But the Filecoin give you a fixed term storage, like 40 days. With the FIL launching, you can even build a 10 years contract with people. So that's one advantage. You have the data stored on the place you want. Secondary, because Filecoin is decentralized, it's not a company. So which means that if you want to store the data in a places, for example, outside of US, but the US doesn't agree to you to store, you can still store it on Filecoin network, but you cannot store it on AWS. So now you see the advantages, right? And on the other side, it's about technology improving. People in blockchain industry, they are getting used to using the data with something we call DID, decentralized ID or wallet. You can encryption your data with your DIDs and store on IPFS or Filecoins. But if you think about using AWS, it's a different story. You still need the access key and authorizing keys. So there was a famous leak recently. It's just because the developer accidentally writing the access key and the secret to a public block and it caused lots of data leak, right? But if you're using Web3 data encryption and DID, you don't have this issue because the one can encrypt your data is your wallet, right? Using your wallet. So that's an advantage from blockchain industry if you're using Filecoin. They give you the privacy, security, distributed backups, and governance advantages. On the other side, compared to Web 2, that's a different story. For example, you get some advantages about the payment side. Like lots of companies still don't only support, for example, you need to find some places. If Amazon cannot reach there, for example, the region, there are Amazon is not covered, you cannot benefit that. But for Filecoin, as long as they have people who run in the node, you can do the services. You don't need to rely on single Web2 companies provide services inside the region. Everybody can provide service for you. So.
Yeah, from my side, just to add to that a little bit, since we are working, with customers on a basically daily basis, we kind of firsthand hear from them what benefits they see. And again, like the mutability on the network, like once it's written into the blockchain, it's there, it's publicly verifiable. And then also kind of around the cost of the technology. So because it's a blockchain technology, there are block rewards that we are earning on the platform, which essentially allows us to subsidize the cost that we go to the customer. So we can provide the solution at them at the lower cost than some of the traditional cloud providers. So that, and you kind of, the fact that they can go back and retrieve the data as well from the network, really important. Like Glacier, for example, you put in a request, it could take 1 or 2 days because it comes back from tape, as where with Filecoin is on disk, and it is verifiable that the data is in its original format.
Thank you. Chao, do you have any answer here?
Yeah, I like to respond to your question. So Jake's mentioned about the price, but I think, many use cases like the Filecoin can provide and the Web2 company cannot provide. I think I'm gonna use the big data NFT as an example. For example, if you created the data and you sell your data to someone, for example, you sell to 10 people and they all have access to your data. If one of them, you sell, for example, you can think of you sell some sort of courses and you have a login password, right? And if someone someone bought this access from another user, you will not get any rewards. You don't know they transferred the user of your data, But once FEM launched, you can actually create a smart contract to regulate this. Anyone, if they want to transfer the key access to your data, they have to pay the data creator a certain amount of fee, and this you can just set it up on a smart contract. Smart contract won't lie to you, and you can create automation to earn passive income with this way. And this is I think the smart contract built on top of Filecoin is really something that's going to benefit the client. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Xiao. Because of time, because of the time issue, we cannot accept more questions. But I think we have a full discussion here today, and thank you very much for being with us. And thank you, Chao, from online. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Jakes. That's all for today's panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.